or afternoon or evening, depending on your time zone. And this is not going to be a long session, so we'll just get working. I want to thank everybody for spending a little bit of time here today to learn about the virtual ability community in Second Life. And I want to offer my thanks to Rebella for inviting me to share with everybody today. Please click this big box up here to receive a folder that will give you more information. I'm Gentle Heron, the founder of the Virtual Ability Community in Second Life. I used to be a teacher and an education researcher before I was medically retired because of multiple sclerosis. What I'd like to do is to ask you, the audience, a couple of quick questions, and then I'm going to spend some minutes telling you about virtual ability, who we are, and what we do. And after that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. This should take a total of about a half hour, very short presentation, and I hope you're ready for my questions. On the screen on the right, you will see a question mark. The first question I'm asking is, do people with mental health issues benefit from being with other people who have the same diagnosis? If you're going to answer yes, tell us briefly why. If you don't think that's true, tell us why not. Anna says yes, because it helps us feel less alone. Sophia says yes, because it helps to see ourselves in others. Amma says it gives a sense of belonging. Sometimes it is important to communicate with people who are the most like yourself, who will get your concerns, your language, and your point of view. That's why most people with disabilities seek to relate at times with others like ourselves. And Luke says there's a quote, "A trouble shared is a trouble halved." And that has some truth to it, and Dreamer is agreeing with that. So here's the second question. Do people with mental health issues benefit from being with others who are either living with a different diagnosis or who are temporarily non-disabled? If you think that is true, why? If not, why not? Lucretia may be answering the previous question saying, no, it's a little controversial. People who are facing the problem themselves do not yet have the solution themselves. It's an important thing to keep in mind. So what about the second question? Do people with mental health issues benefit from being with others who are either living with a different diagnosis or who are temporarily non-disabled? Sophia says she thinks it might be helpful to put their own situation into perspective by seeing other people's perspectives. Rebella says it depends on how badly affected both are, if they are functional or not, and in most cases, no. Amma says yes to help foster compassion for others. And Mook is reminding us that these questions may have more complex answers than simply yes or no, and that is, of course, true. We don't live in isolation from other people who do not share our disabilities. In the physical world or in the virtual world, we can learn a lot from people who differ from us in some ways. And I want to thank you all for sharing your thoughts. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the virtual ability community, and you can see a picture of some of our members on the right side of the screen. Virtual Ability, also known as VAI, is an international cross-disability peer support community. We've been continuously active in Second Life since 2007, and that's almost 17 years. We're international because our members come from 6 continents. We're only missing Antarctica. Cross-disability means our members may have a physical disability, a mental or emotional or developmental disability, or a sensory disability like deafness or blindness. And many of us have multiple disabilities. Our community assists people with all kinds of disabilities to enter and thrive in Second Life and other virtual worlds. Thank you, Mook, for adding my extra words. We are supported in virtual worlds by a disability-owned, legally chartered U.S. nonprofit corporation, Virtual Ability, Inc. We have no paid employees. We are all volunteers. And we are probably the first Second Life entity to then be given legal physical world nonprofit status. Virtual Ability offers members peer support as well as education, acceptance, understanding, and support for their growth. Although Virtual Ability offers various educational and entertainment activities daily, we strongly encourage our members to explore other places throughout Second Life and other groups. You only find our members on our islands for our events. Most of the time, they're elsewhere in Second Life. Many of us act as peer mentors or role models. We are not acting as professionals, even those of us who are professionals in the physical world. About a quarter of our members do not yet have disabilities. They may be a parent, spouse, child, or friend of a person with a disability. They might be a professional or non-professional caregiver, an academic researcher, medical professional, or an educator. On our main public island, called Virtual Ability, our auditorium is the site of our 2 annual professional conferences: the Fall International Disability Rights Affirmation Conference and the Spring Mental Health Symposium. This coming Friday, just a few days away, May 17th, Virtual Ability holds our 13th annual Mental Health Symposium. The international presenters will share about our youth, our elders. That's the theme. A copy of the conference schedule is in the box up front, or you can read about it at that URL there. I think that should work. The presentations will talk about projects impacting impacting various aspects of the mental health of children and the elderly. The presenters come from Australia, Canada, Kenya, the UK, and the US for this particular conference. You're all cordially invited to attend. You can attend either in Second Life or by watching the live stream on Virtual Ability's YouTube channel. And you can see archives of some of the previous conferences at that URL for the YouTube channel. We have an award-winning new resident orientation course on our Virtual Ability Island. Many educators bring their students into Second Life through this facility. It is very safe to enter Second Life through our website and this orientation course. Our mentors are able to assist people who use assistive technology to access their computers. We have helped people who control their avatars using their foot, their tongue, or their eyes. We have community members who are fully deaf and community members who are completely blind. And we even have one person in our community who accesses Second Life in Braille. We educate the public about health and wellness topics with the poster sets and other information on our Health Info Island. This month's posters are described on a note card in the giver box that's down here. They are all about topics related to mental health because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And several of the poster sets are also about various aspects of climate change's impact on mental health. We promote peer support communities in Second Life through the Path of Support on Health Info Island, which contains over 120 posters about different groups. You can click any poster to privately get more information about that Second Life group. Nobody needs to know if you're looking at the Alcoholics Anonymous poster or the Cancer Survivor poster. For more information about the Virtual Ability community and our work in Second Life, there is a website right there. The URL is listed, or you can contact info@virtualability.org. And now it's time for your questions. I'd like to request that you put them in text, please, 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 because my hearing is deteriorating. Rebella asks, from my experience, how long it took people to contact you and how will they do it exactly? If you mean people who are already in Second Life, most of them just send an IM, so that's immediate. But there are people who want to come into Second Life who don't know a lot about it, and they send a message to info@virtualbetty.org, and then we respond and set them up with a mentor. We like to be sure that the mentor has the same assistive technology as the person who is coming in. We've found that blind people who use screen readers learn best from other blind people who use screen readers. So it helps to have a relationship like that, a similarity relationship. Does that answer your question, Rebella? And Anna asks a question, how effective is peer, in quotes, support if the support person does not identify with a disability? For example, I am a recovering alcoholic and peer support mentors in those organizations are required to identify as recovering from substance use disorders. And so I would answer, yes, it is very important for a person who is a peer supporter to identify as a peer. However, it is not possible for someone to be exactly identical to you. So for instance, we have people who are completely blind and use screen readers, and we have people who are partially blind or visually impaired and use screen readers. They are definitely not peers in the physical world, but their use of screen readers to access Second Life makes them peers. On the other hand, we also have people with dyslexia who use screen readers in Second Life, and they have a totally different diagnosis than being a blind person or sight impaired person, and yet they're peers in terms of their assistive technology. So there are different ways to be peers. Thank you very much. It's a great question, though. Sophia has a question about Second Life note cards. Is it possible to use them in a way that they work with document readers for partially sighted people? For example, by adding alt text and other kinds of metadata. Actually, Sophia, screen readers can read note cards in Second Life. Now, if you're talking about a partially sighted person who needs just a bit of magnification, there are screen magnifiers. Some of them are software screen magnifiers. Some are physical ones, like a plastic sheet that you put over your monitor that make the screen look larger. And so there are a lot of different ways that partially sighted people can read note cards better. When you talk about alt text, one of the things that we do for our totally blind members is to provide image descriptions. Image descriptions are important. That's a very good question that will help people who have full sight understand a bit more about people who have less sight. Yes, Mook, but I wouldn't call it, and I want to thank Mook for transcribing my speech. I wouldn't call it alt text, because alt text is hidden in the HTML. You are very good at it, Mook. Do not apologize. I was probably talking too fast. Luke is one of our community members who is a great help. DJ says he would like to say, what a wonderful group. It's so nice to see Second Life citizens supporting Second Life citizens, regardless of our global and cultural backgrounds. That is one of the fantastic things about Second Life. I have friends here I would never have met in the physical world. Mook is from the UK. I would never have had a chance to meet her, except here we are in Second Life, and we're good friends here. People are agreeing with that. Rebella says it's so true. Second Life is a small world. Luke, you've got neighbors. Bella says it's amazing to see all the people come together. Amma says so many meaningful experiences in Second Life over almost 20 years. She carries these with her in her real life. Yes, that's true. Amma says she's attended recovery meetings in Second Life for years. She never realized there were groups to support her mental health, and this weekend has been amazing. Amma, you're going to want to go and look at the path of support. I believe there is a landmark in this big box that will help you find it. Bella says, if she's asking me if I were to do further events together with them, which she hopes we will, what would you like to be talking about? What would be something you think it will help us all? Ooh, that's a ponderable question. I'm thinking about disability etiquette. Like, I'll give you a little hint. And yes, Emmy, you're right. There are so many choices. Here's a hint. I'm a wheelchair user. When I'm sitting in my wheelchair, I recognize people by their belt buckles, not by their faces, because I can't look up to see their face. So instead of talking to your belt buckle, or worse, talking to your crotch, I would prefer if I could talk to your face. And that would mean that it would be helpful if you would crouch down or sit near me when we're talking. That would be disability etiquette. Does that make sense?
Seeking a small world. Are there any future?
And I think people are saying that it would be a good idea to do disability etiquette. Okay, so we can do that. And Lucretia says, speaking of a small world, are there any future efforts or directives that may be taken to introduce Second Life to netizens suffering from disabilities to find a sense of community here? We have to overcome, Lucretia, all of the same negative information about virtual worlds that exists. And it's difficult because people who have difficulty accessing their computer may be prohibited from using Second Life by their caregivers because of the negative imagery that is projected about Second Life. And that's really unfortunate because I know from success stories within our community, people with all different kinds of disabilities can benefit greatly from the affordances of a virtual world. Okay, Emmy says she thought she heard someone voicing. If someone was voicing, could you either please type because I'm not hearing it, or could someone type for the person who is voicing? And Amma is agreeing, I think, that it's a travesty because this platform is so powerful for meaningful purposes such as community support. I agree with you, Amma, very definitely. Dreamer says, I am an educator at RL and I joined Second Life back in 2009 because I took a course about the uses of virtual worlds in education. I have never brought my students to Second Life because most of them are underage, but I've been to lots of education conferences and educational places. Second Life is a great place to create connections. I've been able to go to conferences in Second Life that I would never have been able to go to in the physical world. Boy, is that true. And goes on, I want to thank you for all the great work you do at Virtual Ability. General, thank you. I will guarantee you it is not me. It is a team. Lucretia says the voice you heard may have been her text-to-speech function. Amma says it was Lucretia. They may be using a text-to-voice converter. That's fine. Okay. Lucretia, what's the name of your text-to-voicer? Okay. Lucretia is going to research that. Mama wants one so she doesn't have to voice ever again. Right. Some people can't, and some people choose not to voice, and those are both legitimate reasons for using text to voice. I am dedicated to Second Life, but I also work in other virtual worlds. Did you know that WolfGrid has both text to voice and voice to text incorporated in it? Thank you, Lucretia. Lucretia says it's text-to-speech box version 0.3.0. Yeah, it makes you wonder if WolfGrid can do it. Why hasn't Linden Lab done it in Second Life? We have been lobbying Second Life for over a decade to get that integrated, that function integrated here. Sophia really hopes that it does come here, and so do I. Rebella says she wanted to take a moment to thank me, Gentle, and the Virtual Ability team for being here and for allowing us to peek into what you guys are doing and how our friends and members can benefit from all the good things that we do. Thank you very much, and I will turn this over to Rebella or whoever is coming next. My half hour is up. If you haven't gotten the stuff out of the box, please do that before I take it away.
Thank you, Jen.
Oh. I just washed my shoes. Going on the box.
Okay, guys. Gentle, thank you so much for everything and for the information. People, please don't hesitate to add Gentle to your friends list or ask her whatever you want to know extra that she hasn't managed to cover in here. It's a lot of information, but yes, I'm pretty sure that she's going to be able to answer everything in person if you ask her. And as she said, please click the box and get all the info or visit her small satellite booth here and get the information. So now that we have a half an hour break, I would like to invite you all to either have a coffee with us or visit or just continue speaking in here and share information and share friendships and whatever you guys feel like to do. Because at 11, I'm going to do my best to try and do a meditation for you all and for me as well, because I really need it to. So, yeah, thank you so very much, Gentle. Um, Please, yeah, as said, um, have a coffee, have a drink, have something to eat, have friendships exchange and talks, and I'll see you around. So I'm gonna go off the stage right now. I feel emotions. We will be doing the meditation at the spa area that I created especially for the people who want to do a little meditation, a little relaxation. So